What's up, everybody? I'm Tommy McCollister, and welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. Today, we're in our old studio, and back again. Diane's back on the set with me, and I always enjoy her being here. But we had the other studio set up, and we decided to even revamp that and just go even bigger. And so, hopefully, about a week, 10 days at the most,
Yeah.
until that one's up and running. And so, anyways, guys, I'm excited for this one. We got a cool topic here. We're going to talk about you can't disrespect your spouse into respectability. And that goes into all different aspects. You can't disrespect your spouse into having more sex with you. You can't disrespect your spouse into being submissive to you or whatever that is. And it goes both ways. This isn't just for the men on this one. I know it's technically the High Level Husband Podcast.
Yeah, but it's for everybody.
I mean, it's definitely goes both ways. I definitely see men disrespecting their spouse tremendously, but I think, because we've been doing this long enough that we see so many over the years wives, right?
Oh yeah. I don't want to project this on the wives, but I feel like it's almost more the wives more than anything. I mean, I definitely was a nagger.
Yeah. It's tough. It goes because I guess there's so many different situations that can be, but in the wife situations, they're frustrated because of their own stuff, but also because of the husband's lack of certain areas.
And when you put those two together, it ends up not being a good outcome.
Well said, because it's both, right? It's not just that the husband sucks or the wife sucks and that's just what it is and they're dropping the ball. Yes. I don't want to use the word sucks though. Like I don't want to use that like, you're just dropping the ball or you're not being as great as God's called you to be, or you don't even know half the time what it is. They don't even know they're missing the mark because everybody else in life is doing that same stuff. Everybody's watching porn or drinking beer or watching TV or feels stressed or depressed or whatever it may be. They think that's normal. Unfortunately, it is normal in this day and age, but it's not normal for what God has for you for your life and your marriage. And that not everybody's that way. You kind of got to work your way through the fog to get to the clear skies, but it's not that way. So when we kind of we don't know what that actually is, but a lot of times that is the individual is dealing with stuff, right? Hurt people. Most people haven't worked through their issues, whether that's past stuff or current stuff, and they bring that to the relationship. And that's what causes 99.9999% of issues in marriage.
Yeah, we have these frustrations, and then the one little thing or something that the spouse may do like sets that off, right?
Is the trigger, right? Like, because if you really look at most arguments, and we're going to give you guys some bullet points on this, we're going to give you some action steps on this, just give you guys a heads up, but we kind of like to just pre-frame a lot of that. But if you look at the most issues in marriage, it's not because only 15% of marriages actually succeed, 50% divorce. The 35% are unhappy. Only 15% are actually succeeding. And so if you really look at that, and not all of those 85% are having infidelity or physical abuse or verbal abuse or anything like that. Oftentimes what it is like we said, it starts with the individuals, but it's the little things. Somebody leaves their shoes out. Intimacy's been not as frequent. Maybe rolling of the eyes or body language. It's just small things like that that end up destroying the marriage. But it's not that those were the culprits of it. It's what's going on underneath.
It sets it off.
That really sets it off.
Yeah. But
why we said the line that we said at the beginning is you can never disrespect your spouse into being a respectable person is 100% true. There's sports coaches throughout the years who've been really disrespectful, hard on their players, and sometimes they got results from them. But here's the thing. Those players signed up, knew what they were getting into when they were tried out for the team, got signed to a team and professional and all of that. They knew about the coach, and they are also extremely driven people in those areas. Not everybody is as disciplined or as a mindset of a professional athlete or high-level collegiate athlete to be able to deal with those things. Especially in a marriage, the last person you want to get that from is your spouse.
Ooh, yeah.
I can get it from other people, been in my Bible study, my mentors and things like that. But to get it from somebody you love is very challenging, is very hard. Now, me and Diane don't have that in our relationship anymore. We did years ago. We definitely wasn't arguing or things, but there was like nagging, or there was things that I was doing, reflecting certain things off onto you both
Mm-hmm.
ways,
Yeah.
in those things. But I want to kind of talk about something. So we did a post earlier this week, and it was talking about how to like stop arguing with your spouse. So we kind of want to just dive into a little bit of this and speak just a hair on this, but then I also want to talk about the disrespect factor of things as well. And so most people cannot control their tongue. The wife says something, the husband says something, and it's fire and brimstone coming out like after that. It's just like
Uh-huh.
letting it rip. Never one time in history has that actually played out for good. The only time it plays out for good is when you sit in your silence of yourself and you go, you know what, dude? You're kind of a crappy person.
Yeah, you just blew it.
And you call yourself out. That's when it works together for good. But it's never because your wife's like yelling at you and all these other things, or you're yelling at them, that it ever went to a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes we do these posts, and what I hate about it is that, unfortunately, that's what I like about podcasts. We can explain it a little bit more, and don't take this disrespectful. They're over people's heads. They just want me to tell them that they're sparse partners and that narcissist or a gaslighter, and they want me to use some terms, and then they want me to do that, and then they tell them to just stop, and here's that thing. It's like, well, here's the bigger picture. Is that your spouse is hurting in a certain way and it's spewing out onto you. And because of that, I should recognize that my spouse is hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she stressed? Why is she hateful today? Why is she
Overwhelmed?
right in all those things?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Why is he coming home from work angry? Why
Mm-hmm.
is he short and not talking when I ask how his day was? Why is he distant? There's a reason below the surface of all of that.
Yeah, it's not just because we come home or, or our spouse comes home and we feel like being a jerk.
No,
That's not the reason why.
and nobody has that
Yeah.
at all. Well, that's just my personality. It's just been a long day. I need to go off by myself. Well, it's been a long day. Why has it been a long day? Like, talk about that with your spouse. Like, they need to
Mm-hmm.
be there to talk and decompress with it.
Yeah.
I get it. We all need some solitude and prayer and by ourselves a little bit. But when that becomes the main go-to, that's going to be bad for the marriage. But if Diane's doing those things, I have to see below the surface why that's happening. I can ask her that. She might, in this day and age, she'll tell me. Before us, a lot of times they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know.
Yeah, like I'm just irritated and I don't know why,
And so if we can actually get to the heart of that and go in and talk to them and all these other things and break it down and all that, or just even if we're not talking to them about it, understanding that they're short with us today because they're hurting,
Mm-hmm.
that changes my heart.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you see a homeless person on the side of the road and you think this person's a loser, a crappy person, a detriment to society. Now, is it their choice that they're there? Yes, to a certain extent. But they've also, at some point in their life where it's happened, that got them there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're a drug addict, but why are they a drug addict? They just didn't wake up one day and just be like, dude, I just want to shoot heroin all day because my life is so amazing. My parents love on me. I got this amazing job and this amazing wife, and life is so great. I just want to shoot heroin.
Yeah. Not the way it works.
It started at some point in their life with some type of hurt, whether it was a girlfriend breaking up with them, whether that was some type of parent thing that happened to them when they were young, whether that was their insecurities really rising to the surface because of multiple situations, them losing a job, things like that. And because of that, that stimulated them into seeking comfort, which never solves the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Eating food, antidepressants, alcohol, any type of substance, smoking weed, whatever it may be, porn. That starts it.
Yeah.
And eventually that keeps going because they're trying to mask the pain. And by masking the pain, they're not solving the pain. And because of that, it turns to something greater and something greater. And next thing you know, they're now heroin addicts or meth addicts or whatever. Because of that, it's really expensive. And their life is spiraling out of control. They can't keep a job. They're losing their kids, all these other things. Next thing you know, it goes there. But it all started from somewhere. So my point of saying that is when you see this homeless person, if we can look past that they're just littering and crapping on the streets and all these other things and being drug addicts or maybe breaking into houses. And at one point in time, it started with some type of hurt in their life. And they use that as a coping mechanism. And because of that, that's where they're at. So we need to apply that same principle to our wife. We need to apply that same principle to ourselves and other people. Instead of just calling ourselves losers, we need to go, why am I being this way? What's going on? What's causing me to this? What's causing her?
Yeah. And then share that.
Share it, but then also remove the thing that's causing it. So if she's being short with me, I don't want to make her feel worse by coming back at her. I want to help her heal that. So if she's yelling at me or stressed with me and I'm just loving on her and just there to listen, maybe offering an encouraging word, helping out a little bit more, noticing those things and helping her work through them, eventually she's not going to have those problems anymore. But if I just call her names, disrespect her, hoping that she'll eventually stop being that way with me,
that's not going to happen.
It's not going to. It's not going to happen. But the problem with that solution right there, guys, is it's very hard to do. And when I'm telling you that it's very hard to do, it's for this one reason. You have to change your heart to be able to do that. You have to fix your hurts, your habits, and your hangups. And until you do that, good luck on being able to just love somebody through them hurting you. Whether that's your spouse, whether that's a coworker, whether that's a stranger, somebody on social media, good luck. You have to get to a place in your heart where you work through it. Jesus says, offer the other cheek, turn the other cheek. And it's not easy to do until you change your heart. So how do we change our heart? It's the disciplines that we all talk about. It's about focusing on the Lord more. It's about doing those daily things to change our heart and to see the bigger picture on all of that. I don't yell at my wife also because I want momentum. I want everything this life has to offer. What do you want for your life? Are you frustrated because your business is maybe not growing? Are you frustrated because your relationship's not where it's at? Are you frustrated because other things are happening in your life? Those things are happening for a reason. God will not bless you in an area that you're not doing something that he's called you to do.
Yeah.
You can't be like, well, I don't tithe and I don't go to church and I don't do this and I don't do that. And then I watch porn and I get drunk and I do all these other things. And but God, I still love you. I still serve your people.
Yeah. Why aren't you blessing me?
Yeah. That doesn't work. He can't go, well, yep. You know what? Keep doing the things that I'm telling you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to bless you through it. Well, no, he can't do that. It's direct opposition of what he says. And two, then you would be getting rewarded for doing something that he doesn't want you to do. So he has to pull back the blessings on that until you change those. And then your marriage will change. Then your finances will change. Then your business will change. All of that will change when you address those issues.
Yes.
But until you get to that spot, he's going to be pulled back. And then you just think, why is God distant in my life? I'm praying. I'm going to church.
But not taking action on the things you need to.
Removing those things from your life that are causing you to do it. Somebody said the other day, and I got a shout out to him. His name is Lewis. And he said, we were at a mastermind, and he said, the other person was like, the person said he deals with anger. And he says, well, is that with everybody? He says, well, no, just basically with my significant other. And he said, well, why don't you get angry with cops? Do you get angry with cops? He said, no. He said, well, do you get angry with your boss if he does something that makes you mad? He goes, no. He goes, well, why not? And he said, and And the person's mastermind said, well, because there's repercussions. And he said, there's repercussions in your marriage as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yep, 100%.
Yes.
But what you think in your marriage is, well, we're married, so she ain't going nowhere. Or we're married, you know.
This is just how it is.
It is what it is. We'll get over it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason you don't do that in your job is because then your finances is going to change. And if your finances change, you can't do all that crap that you're trying to fill yourself up with, the trips, the cars, and all of that stuff that you're trying to make yourself happy. That's actually not working to make you happy. And you can't do all that stuff. Well, even if it's not even the trips and the cars, it's just how you provide for your family and yourself and the roof over your head. That's going to go away. So you just know there's those consequences. And so you won't do it. But here's the thing, those things that you're going to the job for, the money to get you the job, the cars, the food, the house, all of that, guess what? Ain't making you happy. What's the one thing in your life that's making you not happy? Your marriage, right? So address that in those things. And so why would we not see our spouse as the same area of repercussion?
Mm-hmm.
If I get angry with her or she gets angry with me, there is repercussion. Sex is going to go away. Communication is going to go away. Your kids are going to see you as crappy parents. And so now you're setting them up for failure in life. All that stuff is going away. Enjoyment and fun is going away. I don't know about you. Your house should be your place of like just peace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so thankful.
Yeah.
We were on a trip this weekend. Amazing trip to New York City. Led a men's event out there on top of that as well. Brought our kids. Had this great all-around trip, business / personal. After, I think it was like day 3, I told you, I go, I'm good after about 3 days and I'm ready to get home.
3 to 4 days and we're ready to be home.
Because our house is such a place of peace. Not that the trip is not. It was. But this is a place of peace and enjoyment, and we've built a life that we don't need a vacation from.
Yeah.
Most people don't get to go home and enjoy their life.
Mm-hmm.
They're stressed or they're getting yelled at or all these other things. And so it's there.
They don't look forward to it.
So what if you got to pour into your marriage in those areas and realize there is a repercussion? So that's why I'm not going to say this, because I'm really trying to move my marriage forward. And all those things. It's just so important. It's just so important in all different areas of our life to be able to do this. Just control our tongue.
Yeah.
And to not be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And to not have all of those things. And so I just can't encourage you guys enough. We're keeping this one pretty short today. We just wanted to get in here and speak heavily on this. Is that arguing, nagging, complaining, all of that will never solve your marriage.
No.
I can give you all the communication tools. It won't matter. I could tell you how you respond, tone of voice, language, all of that to your spouse. It won't matter. But if I show you how to change your heart and change your perspective on it, then it matters.
It's a solution.
So we're working with somebody right now, and I was on a call with them yesterday, and they've been getting a tremendous breakthrough. But because they had dug themselves such a deep hole, it's just not like their marriage goes from, where it was and then overnight to this other spot. Mm-hmm. I've watched this guy's heart change, and I've watched his leadership change. I've watched all these things in his life change, and I've watched his marriage grow. But his wife sent him a message yesterday, and now I don't recommend ever communicating through text, but they did. And she said, it's still hard for me to see you as this new person because you had so many years as this old person.
Yeah.
And so he's frustrated. Why isn't she seeing all my new efforts? Why isn't she doing this? Why is she still reacting the same ways? It's because it takes time for you to get to that spot.
Mm-hmm. It takes time for them to really sink in and see those new actions and not remember all those past ones.
Would you not say that's for ourselves too?
Absolutely.
Like, if we start changing our habits and character, we'll still see ourselves as that crappy person.
For sure.
If I'm a drug addict up until last week, and then I have a month as not a drug addict, I still see the years that I was a drug addict, that I was this failure. I still fear that I could fall off at any time. Now get 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road, a year down the road, you're gonna have a lot more security in that. But I'll promise you, because I have been a drug addict, 1 month does not make you feel like you're in the clear. It's about 6 months before you're kind of like, all right, I'm feeling somewhat better, but it's about a year. And then you're like, okay, but really 3, 4 years. But then when you're till you're really like really feeling secure. Now you can never let your foot off the gas on anything. It's the same way in marriage. Your spouse has seen you one way for so long that it's going to take time for them to realize that the shoe isn't going to drop, that you are actually this person, and you have to feel that same way as well. But because we all want affirmations and respect, we want them to change and just see it right away.
Yeah.
That will not happen. It takes time to build up that trust. And what I told him was, he's like, man, I'm just so frustrated that she's still not seeing me 100% in this way. And she is in a lot of new ways, but not just fully. He's like, I'm just so frustrated, man. He's like, dude, I'm just ready for this to be over with. I said, hold up. I go, why? Why? Like, yeah, that'd be great if it ended, but there's more work to be done, dude. You need to become still somebody better. Yeah. You still have lessons to be learned. I said, let's break this down. I said, if you didn't have marriage problems or you just didn't do anything about them, let's take a look at your life. And this is somebody who's a professional fighter, like done big things, sold out arenas. I said, then you just go about with the life that you have. And was that a great life? No. Your marriage sucks. And you have insecurities. You have all these other things. And this is what it is. I go, but because you took action, you reached out to me, and because I came into your life and I told him, I said, now I may be the wind behind your sail, but this is God who lined this all up, and he's the one doing the breakthrough. So do not take this as just because of me, but because of their marriage being through these problems and the frustration still happening, guess what? You're growing like never before. Just this last week, he leveled up probably 3 levels tremendously.
Yeah.
2, his brothers just got giant breakthrough because now they're connected with me. Now their family unit's growing even more. 3, they're finding different levels of relationship with God that they didn't even know was possible. They were the churchgoer, weekly churchgoer. They didn't understand that that's like the smallest bare minimum of relationship with God and understanding what's possible. And I'm like, do you see what's happening in your family, your immediately marriage and kids, your personal self and your outside friends and family? And then it started trickling to his friends as well. And I go, do you see what's happening here? He's like, dude, I do. He says, I'm so thankful for that. And I go, is it worth it for the frustration to keep going if those things keep happening? He said, dude, yeah. And I go, does that make sense now? And he goes, I feel 1,000,000 times better. Because he was just seeing the frustration. He wasn't seeing the breakthrough. Yeah. And when you only see the frustration and don't see the breakthrough, you'll never understand the greatness that is happening. Then it's easier to go through the pain. So when your wife is yelling at you, and because it hasn't fully changed yet, but you've changed and are changing, sit through it, because there is amazing things still happening. People see year 25 of Tommy and Dianne. They didn't see year 3. Yeah. People are seeing year 4.5 of radical transformation in personal development and faith in our life. They didn't see month 1 or month 6 or a year and a half or even 3 years. Like, it gets more and more authority. I just woke up today and was praying, and I said, God, man, it's crazy just how much authority just even in the past 2 months you've given me over 2 months ago. And then it's like I knew where I was then. And it's just like a time and time and time again. But it was through hardship. It was through that fast we did. Yeah. It was through things we gave up. Pain we're willing to accept. See pain as a blessing, not as a curse. See pain as something that's growing you and trying to challenge you to become better. If your spouse is still nagging you and disrespecting you, take that as a challenge for you to got to have more love in your heart.
And to keep taking action on the things that you need to.
And so this same person, he said, man, like, I'm just ready for my wife to love on me. Like in the ways other people do. because we did an event this weekend and all of his friends and brothers were there and they were loving on him and honoring him, and he was having a hard time accepting it.
Mm.
And I said, bro, his friend pointed this out. And then I jumped in on it and I was like, bro, it's clear you have a hard time letting other people love on you. You shut it down immediately. I go, chances are you're doing that to your wife in certain ways as well.
Yeah.
But he said to me, he said, man, he's like, I'm cool with all the other people loving on me, but I just want my wife to love on me that way. But here's the thing. We think that that's what's going to change. I know people who won the Super Bowl and when it happened, it didn't happen, right? They didn't change. I know people got millions of dollars and when it happened, their heart didn't change. They think we're going to get this thing and that's when it's going to change. It's the process of getting there that's going to get us to change. It's going to actually make the biggest difference. And so going through this is there. And so I said, bro, if you want your wife to love on you more, here's how you do that. Keep doing with what you're doing. Accepting love from other people. So now your cup's getting full, at least from some people rather than no people, because you're blocking them because you only want it from her. So you're getting it from nobody. Accept that love. Love yourself, man. Like you need to start loving yourself. And we broke that down, how to do that. I said, and then you need to let God love on you. You do that, your cup is going to be tremendously full. Well, then guess what? You won't be needing that from your spouse. As you guys have heard, we've said, I don't need Diane and she doesn't need me.
But I feel like that happiness of getting your cup filled from everybody else too will radiate off of you, allowing her to see that as well too.
1,000%.
Yeah.
That's what I told him.
Yeah.
I said, dude, now you're going to be able to shine so much more onto her because you're getting that love from other people, that because you won't need that anymore, you'll just be this loving guy. So if she says something, it'll fall off because you're like, my cup's already getting full from other people. And because of that, then that takes the pressure off her from needing to do that and all those expectations. And she'll see you as even a better person. So now she's seeing you as different in the past 3 months. The next 3 months are now going to be even different because you're going to be radiating, as Diane said, even more because now you're accepting love. And because of that, she's going to see you even in a newer light. And then now it's been 6 months, not 3 months. Now you both are seeing that the shoe's not dropping and boom, 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 boom. It's only going to grow from there. But we got to change our heart. We got to allow love in and we got to give more love. God told me, I've heard God's voice twice in my life. And the second time I was just yearning for him. I was like, God, I just want to love on you more and more. And I'm thinking to myself, can I read the word more? Can I be in church more? Can I do all these things more? And he told me, then love on my people more. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Love on your wife tremendously, even when she's hurting you. You speaking negatively with your tongue back is not going to help. Love on your kids more. Love on your friends more. Love on your parents more. Specifically, love on anybody in your life more that's caused frustration more. You guys have heard by this millionth time by this time that my dad has always been the biggest frustration in my life. Well, just on my daily to-do list, just even yesterday, I had on there, reach out to my dad. Called him last night, had a great conversation with them, all this stuff, other stuff. And it's just those moments of loving on the people that have hurt you the most that will actually bring the most love in your life. And it's hard. But that will actually fill you up the most love, because now you're taking areas of hurt and you're covering them with love. Watch your heart change and watch what happens. There's a Bible verse. It's Psalm, I think 34:7. Let me see here. Yeah, 37:4. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desire of your heart. So what it means is take delight in the Lord and really love on God, really just be grateful and just have a deep relationship with him, doing all those 9 things we've talked about in the past. If you don't know them, go and listen to the other podcast. We've talked about them, doing those things and just honoring God and the Father by being who he's created you to be. Because of that, then he gives you the desires of your heart. But if you try to go get the desires of your heart before you do that, you're doing it out of order.
Yeah.
God's a God of order. And so go and do that first.
So good.
And good things happen. So the whole point of this is you will never disrespect yourself into getting more respect. But you can love yourself into getting more respect. This works. I promise you, 100%. Go find out what's possible and put it into action. But you have to think higher. God says, in Isaiah, he says, basically his ways are not your ways and all these other things. And it goes deeper. I don't have it memorized. But our coaching ways are not the world's ways. It's why we get tremendous breakthrough.
Yes.
That's why we're just different. That's why sometimes our posts, we got to almost dumb them down because it's like it is over people's heads. But Jesus says, he who has ears, let him hear. I don't need to tell you to watch your tone and all that. That's like awesome, cool little small little branches off the other branches, but the main branches is to change your heart and see what's underneath, what's really going on in your life. And when you both grow individually, you'll grow together. And when you grow together, you'll change the world. And so that's where I'm encouraging you guys on that. We love you. If you need coaching, reach out, DM me on Instagram and get you some free resources, and reach out to me. And it's just Tommy McAllister on Instagram, and DM me. I'll either get you free resources. We'll get you into coaching, whatever that may be. But then also, we would absolutely love it if you rated this podcast 5 stars. It really helps us grow, and it's a way to love on us. And follow and subscribe on there as well, because it really helps. But we're here just to support, because guess what? These fill our cup. When I see how many views the podcast gets and all these other things, that fills my cup more than like looking at my bank account and seeing how much money I have in there. It's just weird, right? The world says it's the other way, because it's like, man, I'm reaching so many people over here with this. That's what fills me up.
But then we can love on people even more.
Absolutely. So it allows us to love on more people. And by you liking that 5 star, and I'm not trying to con you into it, you're allowing to love on more people, because you're helping us being able to love on more people. So you're a huge part of that. You're a part of this mission. You listening to this is a part of this mission. This is us all together as yoked together in Christ. And when we're that, life is much better, because we're here to support each other. Much love. God bless y'all. Talk to you later.
Bye.